The night shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Alaska was usually quiet. Most operators spent their time drinking coffee and watching the endless stream of normal space noise on their screens. But tonight was different. Tom Parker rubbed his tired eyes and leaned closer to his monitor. For the past hour, he had been tracking an unusual signal coming from the edge of the solar system. At first, he thought it was just another piece of space junk, but the pattern was too regular, too structured. "Hey, Mike," he called out to his supervisor. "You might want to take a look at this." Mike walked over, his coffee mug in hand. He was an old-timer who had worked at the station for 20 years and had seen everything from satellite malfunctions to meteor showers. But when he saw the signal pattern on Tom's screen, his coffee mug stopped halfway to his mouth. "Call Dr. Miller," he said quietly. Now, Dr. James Miller was sleeping when his phone rang. As Earth's top expert in possible alien communications, he was used to late-night calls about strange signals. Most turned out to be nothing. But 10 minutes after receiving the data from Alaska, he was wide awake and calling the World Space Agency. "This is not a false alarm," he told them. "This is a real distress call from an alien fleet." Within hours, the quiet monitoring station transformed into a hub of activity. Scientists, government officials, and military personnel filled the rooms. Dr. Miller worked non-stop with his team to decode the message. The signal was complex, but followed logical patterns. After 18 hours of work, Dr. Miller stood before the emergency committee with shaking hands. "The message is clear," he said, his voice trembling with excitement. "There is a fleet of alien ships stranded in the Kuiper Belt, just beyond Neptune's orbit. They call themselves the Bright Ones." He pulled up the translated message on the main screen. "To any intelligent life in this system, we seek urgent assistance. Our fleet carries 2 million refugees. Our propulsion systems are failing due to an unexpected radiation surge in your system's outer reaches. Without help, we will drift into deep space. We have much to offer in exchange for aid. Please respond." The room erupted in chaos. Some officials wanted to ignore the message, fearing a trap. Others saw it as humanity's chance to make first contact. The debate raged for hours until Dr. Miller slammed his hand on the table. "Look at the data," he shouted. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies, using universal mathematical constants. This is not a trap. This is a cry for help." The committee finally agreed to send a response. Dr. Miller composed a simple message. "We hear you. Help is coming. Please transmit your exact coordinates." The reply came faster than expected. The aliens sent detailed coordinates along with basic information about their fleet. 300 massive ships, each carrying thousands of refugees. Their main propulsion systems were slowly failing, and they couldn't fix them. "But that's strange," said Tom, who had stayed at his post through the whole event. "If they can build ships that big, why can't they fix them?" Dr. Miller studied the latest transmission and smiled. "Sometimes the most advanced civilizations forget the basics," he said. "They're telling us their society focused on theoretical science and automated systems. They lost the practical knowledge of how things work. They need engineers, not theorists." The World Space Agency quickly formed a response team. Earth's best engineers and mechanics were called in. Spaceships were prepared for launch. Humanity was about to show the galaxy what they could do. As Dr. Miller watched the preparations, he thought about how strange it was. Humans had always dreamed of advanced aliens coming to share their technology. Instead, aliens needed humanity's help because they had forgotten something humans were good at: fixing things. The first response team would launch in 24 hours. Earth's greatest adventure was about to begin, and it would start not with a war or an invasion, but with a simple repair job. All because Tom Parker paid attention during his night shift at a quiet monitoring station in Alaska. Captain Anna Thompson stood at the bridge of the Earth rescue ship Hope, watching as they approached the massive alien fleet. Even after 3 weeks of travel, the sight still amazed her. 300 ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built, floated silently in the darkness of space. "Main fleet in visual range," reported Jack, her pilot. "Their ships are huge." The alien vessels looked like giant silver snowflakes, delicate and beautiful. Soft blue light pulsed along their edges, growing weaker by the hour as their power systems failed. "Remember the plan," Anna told her crew. "We're here to help, not to show fear. Let's make humanity proud." The Hope carried Earth's best engineers and mechanics, along with translators and first contact specialists. They were humanity's first line of contact with an alien civilization, and they were here to fix broken engines. As they got closer, their radio crackled. "Earth Vessel Hope, you are welcomed," came a strange but clear voice. "Please dock at the marked bay on our command ship." The docking bay was enormous, easily fitting their ship with room for 10 more. As the crew prepared to exit, Anna took a deep breath. Years of training were about to be put to the test. The airlock opened, and they saw their first bright one. The alien was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that gave off a soft glow. It looked almost human in shape, but its movements were more graceful, almost floating. Behind it stood several others, all glowing with different colors. "I am Guide," said the first alien, its skin pulsing slightly with each word. "We thank you for coming to our aid." Anna stepped forward. "I'm Captain Thompson. We're here to help." The meeting room was a mix of stunning technology and worrying problems. Holographic displays showed the fleet's status, but the aliens had to keep hitting them to make them work. The walls were made of some amazing material that changed color with touch, but there were visible cracks they seemed unable to fix. Guide explained their situation. "Our people evolved on a world with few solid resources," it said. "We learned to build with energy and light, to shape matter at its smallest levels, but we lost the knowledge of simple repairs. Our ancestors thought such skills beneath them." "What happened to your home?" Anna asked. Guide's glow dimmed. "Our star began to die faster than expected. We built this fleet using our most advanced science, but..." It paused, embarrassed. "We don't really understand how most of it works. The machines that built these ships broke down centuries ago." The humans exchanged looks. This was both better and worse than they'd expected. Bill, the chief engineer, asked to see their engine room. The aliens led them through corridors that should have been impressive, but were clearly falling apart. In the engine room, Bill's jaw dropped. The technology was amazing, but the maintenance was terrible. It was like seeing the quantum computer being fixed with duct tape. "Your power systems are incredible," Bill said, scanning the engines, "but you're not maintaining them properly. Look here. You've got simple mechanical problems causing cascade failures in the advanced systems." The aliens crowded around as Bill pointed out basic issues they'd never noticed. Their glows brightened with excitement as he explained simple solutions to problems that had puzzled them for years. "You mean you can fix this?" Guide asked, hope making its glow pulse brightly. "Fix it? Half of these problems just need regular cleaning and proper alignment," Bill laughed. "Your technology is amazing, but you're letting it fall apart because you've forgotten the basics." Guide's color shifted to a deep blue. "Our people considered mechanical maintenance beneath us. We thought pure science was the only path forward." It turned to Anna. "We were wrong. Will you teach us?" Anna smiled. "That's why we're here. Your people can show us how your technology works, and we'll show you how to keep it running." As the humans began their inspection of the fleet, word spread quickly among the bright ones. The primitive humans they'd hoped might help them actually understood things their own people had forgotten. Their glows became brighter, showing hope for the first time in months. The Great Repair Project was about to begin, and both species were about to learn valuable lessons from each other. Chief Engineer Bill Wilson wiped the sweat from his forehead as he crawled out of another maintenance tunnel. After a week on the alien flagship, he still couldn't believe what he was seeing. The bright ones had engines that could bend space, but they didn't know how to use a wrench. "Look at this," he called to his team, and the watching aliens. He held up a piece of machinery that glowed with strange energy. You've got quantum field generators being held together with energy fields, when simple metal bolts would work better. The bright ones gathered around, their skin glowing with different colors of curiosity and embarrassment. One of them, a younger alien named Light, moved closer to examine the part. But pure energy connections are more advanced, Light said, confusion making its glow flicker. Bill shook his head and pulled out a standard wrench from his toolkit. More advanced doesn't always mean better. Watch this. He showed them how to properly secure the component with basic mechanical fasteners. The aliens watched in amazement as the machine's vibration, which they'd struggled with for years, suddenly stopped. Sometimes, Bill explained, the old ways are the best ways. Across the fleet, similar scenes were playing out. Human engineers found themselves teaching basic maintenance skills to some of the most intelligent beings in the galaxy. The bright ones had incredible knowledge of physics and energy manipulation, but they had never learned simple mechanics. In the main engineering bay, Captain Thompson watched as her crew set up a temporary workshop. They had brought basic tools and materials from Earth, things the aliens had considered too primitive to even think about. Your species is remarkable, Guide said, floating next to her. We expected you might help us limp to the nearest advanced civilization. Instead, you're teaching us things we never knew we needed to learn. The workshop quickly became the heart of the rescue mission. Human engineers taught the aliens how to use hand tools, how to identify mechanical problems by sound and feel, and how to make repairs without relying on complex technology. The bright ones proved to be quick learners. Their natural glow made them perfect for working in dark spaces, and their ability to float made reaching difficult places easier. They began to see the beauty in simple solutions. It's like art, Light said one day, after successfully replacing a worn-out bearing. These physical tools, they connect us to the work in a way our energy manipulators never did. But not everything went smoothly. In one of the larger ships, Bill and his team discovered a serious problem. The main power core was unstable, and the aliens' attempts to fix it with energy fields had only made it worse. This is bad, Bill told Captain Thompson during their daily meeting. Their fancy energy patches are failing. If we don't fix it properly, it could take out half the fleet. Can we fix it? She asked. Bill nodded slowly. Yes, but they're not going to like how. We need to shut down their quantum matrix and install physical containment systems. Good old-fashioned metal and ceramic. When they presented the solution to the alien leaders, there was resistance. Some of the older bright ones couldn't accept using what they saw as primitive materials to fix their advanced technology. You want to contain our power core with metal? One elder asked, its glow turning a dark purple with disbelief. Your advanced materials are failing, Bill explained patiently. Sometimes the simplest solution is the most reliable. After hours of debate, the humans demonstrated their plan on a smaller system. The aliens watched in shock as the hybrid of their quantum technology and human engineering worked perfectly. Perhaps, Guide announced to its people, it is time we learned that advancement doesn't always mean abandoning the basics. As the first week of repairs ended, both species had learned valuable lessons. The humans gained insight into incredible alien technology, while the bright ones discovered the value of practical skills their civilization had forgotten. The real work was just beginning, but already something remarkable was happening. Two very different approaches to technology were coming together, creating something new and better than either alone. In the quiet moments between repairs, both humans and aliens began to realize that this meeting might change both their civilizations forever. The warning alarms started at midnight, ship time. Red lights flashed across the alien fleet as power systems began to fail one after another. The bright ones' glow dimmed with fear as they watched their backup systems crash. Bill was asleep when the emergency call came. Chief, we need you in engine room 1 now. Jack's voice crackled through the radio. Everything's going wrong at once. Running through the corridors with his tool bag, Bill saw pure chaos. The bright ones were floating around in panic, their bodies flickering like dying light bulbs. The ship's walls, usually glowing with a soft blue light, were turning dark. In the engine room, Captain Thompson was already trying to maintain order. "Report," she shouted as Bill arrived. "It's a cascade failure," Jack explained, pointing to the alien displays. "Their fancy energy grid is collapsing. When we fixed the physical problems in the engines, it changed the power flow. Their automated systems can't handle the new patterns." Guide appeared beside them, its glow barely visible. "Our main power core is rejecting the new configurations. The artificial intelligence that usually manages our power grid cannot understand the human repairs." Bill checked the readings and his face went pale. "We've got maybe 6 hours before total system failure. After that, life support goes down." The news spread quickly through the fleet. 2 million refugees faced the possibility of being stranded in the cold darkness of space. The older bright ones demanded they remove all human repairs and return to their original system. "That won't work," Bill argued in the emergency meeting. "Your old system was already failing. If we remove our fixes now, everything will break down even faster." "Then what do you suggest?" asked an elder alien, its glow pulsing with angry red colors. "Your primitive methods have only made things worse." Bill looked at Captain Thompson, who nodded. "We bypassed their entire power management system," he said. "Replace their AI control with simple mechanical regulators, like old-fashioned circuit breakers, but bigger." The aliens were shocked. "That's impossible," the elder protested. "Our power grid is too complex for such primitive control." "Complex isn't helping us right now," Bill shot back. "We need something that works." Time was running out. In other ships, lights were already going dark. The temperature was dropping as life support systems struggled. Fear spread through the fleet as families huddled together, their combined glow providing what little light remained. Captain Thompson made the final decision. "We're doing it Bill's way. Guide, can you convince your people?" Guide looked at the failing systems around them, then at the scared faces of its people. "We have no choice. How can we help?" What followed was the largest emergency repair operation in human history. Every engineer and mechanic in the human fleet was called in. They taught Bright One volunteers how to install simple mechanical switches and regulators, while Bill and his main team worked on the core systems. "This goes here," Bill shouted over the noise of failing machinery. "No, don't use energy tools. Use the wrench. Physical connection only." The Bright Ones worked alongside humans, learning in minutes what they had forgotten over centuries. Young aliens like light proved especially quick to adapt, their natural glow providing illumination as they worked in darkened corridors. With just 30 minutes of life support remaining, they reached the critical moment. Bill stood at the main control panel, now a mix of alien technology and human engineering. "Here goes nothing," he said, and pulled the giant lever they had installed. For a moment, everything went dark. The Bright One's glow was the only light in the room. Then, slowly, the systems came back online. Not with the smooth hum of AI control, but with the reliable clunking of mechanical switches. "It's working," Light shouted, its glow brightening with joy. "The power levels are stabilizing." Across the fleet, ships began to light up again. The temperature started rising back to normal levels. In the engine room, humans and aliens celebrated together, their cheers mixing with the solid sounds of machinery. "It's not pretty," Bill told the elder aliens, "but it'll keep you alive." Looking at the hybrid control system, with its mix of quantum technology and basic mechanical parts, Guide glowed with a new color that the humans had never seen before. "Perhaps," it said, "beauty isn't always about being advanced." The crisis was averted, but the work was far from over. The entire fleet would need to be converted to the new system. But now, both species knew they could face the challenge together. 2 weeks after the power crisis, the alien fleet was becoming a strange mix of advanced technology and basic engineering. In what used to be a storage bay of the main ship, Bill had set up what he called the Fix-It Academy, where humans taught the bright ones basic repair skills. Light, now one of the most eager students, held up a damaged power coupling. "I think I see the problem," it said, glowing with concentration. "The energy flow is blocked here, but instead of using an energy bypass." "Go on," Bill encouraged, watching proudly. "We could just clean it and replace this worn part with a simple metal connector." Light's glow brightened with excitement. "Now you're thinking like an engineer," Bill smiled. Around them, other bright ones were learning similar lessons, their natural glow providing perfect lighting for detailed work. In another part of the ship, Captain Thompson watched as human and alien crews worked together to install new hybrid systems. The bright ones' quantum technology was still the heart of their ships, but now it was supported by reliable mechanical systems that any crew member could fix. "It's like watching art and science come together," Guide said, floating beside her. "Your people have taught us that sometimes the simplest solution is the best one." The changes weren't just in the machinery. The bright ones themselves were changing. Where once they had floated gracefully, but helplessly around their failing ships, they now moved with purpose. Their hands, once used only for delicate energy manipulation, were becoming skilled with tools. One day, a young bright one named Spark came running. Actually running, not floating, to Bill with an invention. It had combined a human wrench with alien energy technology to create a tool that could work on both mechanical and energy systems. "Look what I made." Spark's whole body pulsed with pride. "It uses your physical leverage principle, but can also channel our energy." Bill examined the tool with amazement. "This is brilliant. You've created something entirely new." Word of the hybrid tool spread quickly through the fleet. Soon, bright ones everywhere were coming up with their own innovations, combining human practical knowledge with their advanced science. The repair work that had seemed overwhelming began to move faster. In the medical bay, human doctors were equally amazed as they worked with alien healers. The bright ones had amazing methods for treating illness with pure energy, but they had never thought of simple solutions like splints for broken bones or stitches for cuts. "Your physical medicine is so direct," one alien healer said, watching a human doctor set a broken arm. "We spent centuries developing energy fields to hold bones in place when we could have just held them in place." Even the children of both species were learning from each other. Human kids taught young bright ones how to use simple tools, while alien children showed them how to create beautiful light patterns with their energy. One afternoon, Bill found Light teaching other bright ones how to identify engine problems by sound. "Close your eyes," Light instructed. "Don't rely on energy readings. Listen to the machine. Feel its vibrations." The older aliens were coming around too. After seeing how well the hybrid systems worked, many admitted that their civilization had gone too far in abandoning physical engineering. Some even started taking basic repair classes alongside their children. "We forgot something important," an elder told Captain Thompson. "In pushing always toward advancement, we lost touch with the physical world. Your people have helped us find it again." The fleet was now running better than it had in generations. Ships that had been slowly failing for years were working perfectly with their new hybrid systems. The bright ones were learning not just to repair their technology, but to understand it in a way they never had before. "You know what's really interesting?" Bill said to Guide, as they watched a group of aliens confidently repairing an engine. "We came here thinking we'd just patch up your ships. Instead, we've helped you rebuild your entire approach to technology." Guide's glow shifted to a color that humans had learned meant deep happiness. "And in doing so, you've given us back something we didn't even know we had lost: the joy of working with our own hands." As the repair work continued, both species realized they were part of something bigger than just fixing ships. They were building a bridge between two very different ways of looking at the world, and both sides were better for it. The main hall of the alien flagship had been transformed into what the humans called the Knowledge Fair. Tables lined the massive room, with humans and bright ones sharing not just technology, but their cultures, histories, and ways of life. Captain Thompson walked through the crowd, smiling at the scenes before her. At one table, Bill was teaching a group of glowing aliens about Earth's history of invention, from the wheel to modern rockets. The bright ones were fascinated by how humans had built their civilization step by step. "You mean you didn't start with energy manipulation?" asked an amazed young alien. "You built everything from scratch." "That's right," Bill grinned. "We had to figure out fire before we could dream of spaceships." At another station, Guide was showing humans the incredible art of light weaving, a form of expression unique to the bright ones. Using their natural glow, they could create beautiful, moving patterns in the air. Some human artists were already thinking of ways to combine this with traditional Earth art forms. "It's like painting with light," said one human painter, watching in awe. "Imagine combining this with our physical art materials." The exchange of knowledge went far beyond just technology and art. Human doctors learned about the bright ones' advanced understanding of energy fields in living beings, while alien healers studied the practical medical techniques the humans had developed over centuries. In one corner, Light had set up what it called a simple solutions display. It showed how human mechanical knowledge had saved their fleet, alongside examples of how their own advanced technology could be made better with basic engineering principles. "Look at this," Light explained to a mixed group. "By adding human-style maintenance access panels to our quantum drives, we can fix problems in minutes instead of days. We didn't even think about physical access before." The food court had become another fascinating area of cultural exchange. The bright ones, who traditionally absorbed energy directly, were cautiously trying human foods. Meanwhile, humans learned about the aliens' ability to process pure energy and convert it into different forms. "This chocolate is fascinating," said Spark, its glow-changing colors as it tasted the sweet treat for the first time. "We never knew physical sustenance could be so enjoyable." Even children from both species had their own area. Young bright ones taught human kids how to feel energy fields, while human children showed them Earth games like catch and tag. The sound of laughter and the flashing of excited alien glows filled that corner of the hall. One surprising development was the creation of a new form of music. Human musicians discovered that the bright one's natural light frequencies could be combined with traditional instruments to create sounds and light shows never before seen on Earth. "It's like a symphony for all the senses," said a human musician, playing guitar while three bright ones created pulsing light patterns that matched his music perfectly. Captain Thompson found Guide watching all this from a quiet corner, its glow shifting through peaceful colors. "Your people have given us more than just repairs," Guide said. "You've shown us what we lost in our rush to advance. The joy of physical creation, the satisfaction of understanding how things truly work. And your people have shown us possibilities we never imagined," Thompson replied. "Together, we're creating something entirely new." They watched as a group of human engineers and Bright One scientists excitedly discussed a new project, a hybrid drive system that would combine the best of both species' technology. The prototype drawings showed something that neither civilization could have created alone. "We thought we were so advanced," Guide mused, "but we have become limited by our own progress. We forgot that true advancement means keeping the best of the old while embracing the new." As the knowledge fair continued into the evening, both species realized that this crisis had led to something remarkable. What started as a simple rescue mission had become the beginning of a partnership that could change both civilizations for the better. The repair work on the fleet was almost complete, but the real work, the sharing of knowledge and culture between humans and bright ones, was just beginning. Both species had learned that sometimes the greatest advances come not from moving forward alone, but from reaching out to help others. 3 months after receiving the first distress call, the Earth ships prepared to bid farewell to the alien fleet. The massive vessels, once on the brink of disaster, now hummed with healthy power from their new hybrid systems. But the changes went far deeper than just repairs. Captain Thompson stood in the flagship's main hall for the farewell ceremony. Around her, Humans and Bright Ones gathered to celebrate what they had achieved together. The hall itself showed the marks of their cooperation. Alien quantum lights now had simple manual switches, while standard electrical systems were enhanced with energy field backups. When we sent out our distress call, Guide addressed the crowd, its glow bright with emotion. We hoped to find someone who could patch our failing systems. Instead, we found teachers who showed us what we had forgotten, and friends who helped us become better than we were before. Vild stood nearby with Light and several other Bright One engineers. His student engineers now carried hybrid tool belts, traditional wrenches alongside energy manipulators. More importantly, they carried themselves with new confidence, understanding their technology in ways their people had forgotten centuries ago. Remember, Bill told them with a smile, sometimes the best solution is the simplest one. Light's glow pulsed with pride. And sometimes the most advanced civilization is the one that remembers its foundations. The ceremony included a major announcement. The Bright Ones had decided to establish their first ever permanent embassy on Earth. In return, humanity would set up a technical training center in the alien fleet, where both species could continue to learn from each other. Our people once thought we had moved beyond the need for physical engineering. An elder Bright One announced, "Earth has shown us that true advancement means building upon the past, not abandoning it. From now on, our children will learn both the highest technology and the most basic repairs." As a gesture of gratitude, the Bright Ones shared some of their quantum energy technology with Earth, but they also asked to learn more about human engineering methods, especially the principles of practical maintenance that had saved their fleet. "It's funny," Captain Thompson said to Guide, as they watched the exchange of gifts. "Your people can manipulate energy fields we can barely detect, but you came to us for help." Guide's glow shifted to a new color that humans had learned meant wisdom. Perhaps that is why the universe made us different. Every civilization has something to teach and something to learn. The human repair teams had one final surprise for the Bright Ones. They had trained a group of alien engineers in an old Earth tradition. The certification ceremony. One by one, the Bright One students received their engineer certificates, their glows brightening with pride as their names were called. Light, now the first certified hybrid systems engineer among the Bright Ones, gave a speech that moved both species. "We thought ourselves advanced because we had moved beyond physical tools. Now we know that true advancement is not about abandoning the basic, but about mastering all levels of knowledge." As the Earth ships prepared to depart, the changes they had brought were visible throughout the alien fleet. Maintenance panels, once considered too primitive, now provided easy access to critical systems. Young Bright Ones carried tool belts alongside their energy manipulators. The ship's controls combined quantum computing with simple mechanical backups. But the greatest change was in how the Bright Ones saw themselves. They had learned that depending entirely on advanced technology had made them vulnerable. By rediscovering basic engineering, they had become truly stronger. "You'll always have friends on Earth," Captain Thompson told Guide during their final farewell. "Sometimes the best way forward is to remember where you came from." As the human ships turned toward home, the alien fleet's lights pulsed in a dazzling farewell display. The Bright Ones had learned more than just repairs. They had learned that every civilization, no matter how advanced, has something valuable to teach others. And humanity had earned a new reputation among the stars. They became known not just for their engineering skills, but for their ability to bridge the gap between the practical and the advanced, between the physical and the energy, between the past and the future. The answer to the Bright One's distress call had changed both civilizations forever, proving that sometimes the greatest advances come from reaching back to help others move forward.